There are a number of them available by now, but the TP-Link Tapo Smart Switch was one of the first Matter switches you can buy. It's fast, it works well, and it's easy to use with Madam A and even Apple Home. But getting it set up on all those platforms, well, that's another story. I just installed a bunch of Matter devices in my home so that you don't have to. So let me share with you what I learned. Hey, what's up? It's Andrew. Thanks for hanging out with me. On this channel, I talk about building a user-friendly smart home for everyone with Apple Home and Amazon Alexa. On my channel, you'll find automation tips, tutorials, and product reviews like this one, so consider subscribing so you can catch more videos like this. This is the Tapo S505 Smart Wi-Fi Light Switch, a fine smart switch. It was super simple to install. It does require a neutral wire. It turns my lights on and off and connects to my home on my 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network. But what makes it interesting is that it is one of the few available Matter smart switches available to buy, and it's pretty darn cheap. It's about 25 bucks on Amazon and has been available either on sale or with a coupon. Links in the description below so you can go check out the latest pricing. I ended up picking up 3 of these for about 20 bucks each. My main interest here was to see how Matter works across the smart home platforms. That is, after all, part of the idea, that these will work across platforms. Remember, some of the benefits of Matter brings cross-platform compatibility, or known as multi-admin, the ability to locally, securely, and even simultaneously connect a smart home device to multiple smart home platforms, like Apple Home and Amazon, for example.
Ecosystems, as in more than one. With multi-admin, a foundational feature in Matter, users can connect Matter devices to multiple apps and ecosystems locally, securely, and even simultaneously.
Matter also enables local control. An easy way to understand this is if you use Amazon's Assistant today. To use a smart home device, you need to use a Madam A skill, which then binds the smart home product's controller in the cloud. You usually have to enter your credentials for whatever smart thing you're connecting before this will work. With Matter, that all goes away and control stays local, right inside your house. No more skills and no more relying on cloud communication or even entering your credentials to turn on a light switch. If you're an Apple Home user like me, from the local control perspective, nothing changes. This has been one of the benefits of the Apple smart home. All control has always been local, likely a big Apple influence into the Matter standard. So some general thoughts. Onboarding is one of the first things you'll need to do, and it is not a simple process. I think it's supposed to be. Devices do not onboard to other platforms automatically. For each platform you want to connect it, you need to generate a code. This turned out to not be that big of a deal, but it's also not written anywhere, so this may not be obvious to users who are looking to onboard devices onto multiple platforms. My guess is that isn't very common. I use Alexa in my home as the voice assistant, but Apple is our main platform for automations. These Tapo smart switches are the first Matter devices I installed, and I have 3 of them now. The onboarding process was a bit painful. After I got the first one, I was able to fairly reproduce the process on the others. And I learned that the best approach was to first set up the switches in the manufacturer's Tapo app. Then, once they're in the Tapo app, I perform a firmware upgrade. Just make sure they have the latest and greatest available, which should include any Matter updates. Then I use the provided Matter code to onboard onto my smart home platforms. And this is where the learning started. When you first onboard a Matter device into the first platform, you use the included Matter QR code and connect it up to that platform. Then, if you want to onboard it to another platform, you don't use that same Matter QR code. Instead, you go into that device settings in the first smart home platform, and there's an option to put the device into a pairing mode. And there you are given a different Matter code to use. Now, there isn't a platform you have to onboard to first. However, from my experience, the order does matter. I had much more reliable access if I were to onboard a device with Matter into Apple Home first. Then from within the device's configuration inside of Apple Home, I put the device into pairing mode and add it to my Amazon smart home. Now, there are still a couple things that happen here, but I cannot find enough information online to confirm. One, when you're onboarding the Matter device, you have to be near the device physically. For example, to onboard to my Apple Home, my iPhone had to be near the device. When onboarding to my Amazon smart home, one of my compatible Echoes had to be near my device. I believe this is because to onboard Matter, it uses Bluetooth. This is at least the case for the Matter devices I onboarded that communicate over Wi-Fi as opposed to Thread. Then, when onboarded in Apple Home, the device information, along with any other platform it was onboarded to, is saved in your system settings. That's if you onboard to Apple Home first. On the flip side, in the Alexa app, I never saw any details populate as to any other platforms that my Matter device was onboarded to. So once I figured this all out, it all seemed to work great. Until one day, all 3 of my switches went unresponsive in my Apple Home, but they were still responsive in my Amazon Home. I did end up contacting Tapo's customer service, but I learned some things about Matter here. It doesn't matter the order of platforms you onboard, as I suggested. Deleting from any of them also does not affect the others. Here's how it went in my case. I onboarded to Apple Home first, then used the code generated from Apple Home to onboard to Amazon. When they went unresponsive in Apple Home, I removed them only from Apple Home. They were unaffected in Amazon. I was still able to use them. I was then able to use the code generated from my Amazon smart home to re-onboard them to my Apple Home. Now, I did have some issues as I went through this process. Some devices onboarded were still not responsive. These were eventually corrected. Another variable here might be the device itself. I say might because, well, Matter is still new to almost everyone, and there's clearly some growing pains. As another test, I bought some Matter-supported Wiz light bulbs. Although there it mentioned this on the Amazon page I bought them, but there was no mention at all on the box, and no Matter codes were found inside. After poking around in the app, I discovered you need to use the app to generate a Matter code. Although I was able to onboard them, the reliability of these was incredibly poor. Again, growing pains. Later, I ended up buying some Hue bulbs. I was really on a mission to buy some new smart bulbs for our bedroom, ones that have an option to remember their previous state upon a power outage. And the reputation on Hue is really what sold me. Also, they natively support Apple Home and Amazon, so they fit my needs. But if you look on the box, they also support Matter. Now, this was a neat test, and maybe a best practice I would advise as you onboard new smart home devices. As we talked about, one of the Matter benefits is the local control it provides. No more need to share credentials through your Amazon skills or anything like that. However, in Apple Home, it already works this way. So when Hue updated to support Matter, I had already included them in my Apple Smart Home. So here's what I did to test Matter. I disabled the Hue skill in my Amazon Smart Home altogether. Then I onboarded them to Amazon using the Matter QR code that's provided to me in the Hue app. There was more learnings here, as you might expect. And my guess is that this might continue on for a while. The Matter onboarding to Amazon worked fine, actually, until randomly the bulbs would disappear from my Amazon Smart Home, and I would have to re-onboard them. Another sign of those growing pains. I should also mention I never removed the Hue bulbs from my Apple Home and attempted to use them using Matter. This was very intentional. As we know, Apple Home already has that local control, so there was nothing to gain here. On the other hand, Matter integration into Apple Home does not support specific Apple Home features, such as adaptive lighting. I love this feature and I use it on a number of my smart bulbs in my house. Matter, however, does not support this, at least not today. So for me, that was a very good reason not to use Matter with my Apple Home. And honestly, not sure if I'll need to. I also tested a Matter over Thread device, some Nanoleaf Essentials bulbs. However, through my testing, I determined that my thread network isn't built out enough to take advantage of the thread protocol. I think I would only go the thread route if I intended to invest in a number of other thread border routers and devices. And also there is some compatibility issues at the moment among Amazon and other thread border router systems. In order for thread to operate correctly, there needs to be a single thread network. Right now with Amazon, that isn't the case. I also tested with one more platform just for funsies, because that's what we're about on this channel, but also because I'm expanding the capability of my smart home, and that was with the addition of Home Assistant. And I'll save the specifics of what I've learned in Home Assistant for a later video, because there is a lot going on inside there. But as it relates to Matter, first, Matter is supported. Secondly, there's more growing pains. I have been going through a number of issues, mainly as Home Assistant updates are rolled out, which is extremely regular. It breaks my connection to all of my Matter devices, which as of now, I am up to 3 Matter switches, 3 Matter outlets, 2 hubs, and a third Reality combo unit. I am looking forward to more benefits Matter should bring to the smart home, including some new device types. Come on, robot vacuums in Apple Home, am I right? But I think Matter is a step in the right direction. It's simple, secure, and no additional monthly fees. That is a user-friendly smart home. Hey, thanks for watching. If you get any value from this video, please let me know by giving it a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.